Wild West, the gold rush, the promise of easy fortune and a life of luxury. Do you dream of finding gold nuggets, getting rich overnight, and living like a king? Well, prepare to have your dreams crushed, because life in the gold rush was about a lot more than just frustrated nuggets, and you wouldn't last a day, especially if you like bananas. This is California, mid-19th century. A lawless land where the gold rush has attracted adventurers, desperados, and dreamers from all over the world. You arrived hoping to change your life, but what you found was a brutal reality. Your life is dictated by the relentless search for gold, survival in extreme conditions, and the constant threat of danger. There is no time for rest, or for eating fresh bananas. Your diet is meager and monotonous, your body is pushed to its limits, and your mind is consumed by greed and desperation. You are a prospector, and prospectors don't need bananas to dig. Your day begins before sunrise with pick and shovel. You spend hours on end in the icy water of rivers, sifting through sand and gravel in search of a golden sheen. The work is exhausting, repetitive, and it destroys your body. Your hands become raw, your back aches, and your lungs fill with dust. And bananas? They would be crushed on the first day. You compete with thousands of other prospectors, all with the same dream. The best spots have already been taken, and the gold is increasingly difficult to find. Hope turns to frustration, and frustration to despair. And nobody wants a rotten banana. You learn to endure pain, hunger, and cold, to sleep in makeshift tents, to drink dirty water. Life is about surviving, not thriving. And the pleasure of a ripe banana, it's a luxury you can't afford. Not yet. Now, let's talk about something more contagious. Living conditions in the gold mining camps were deplorable. The lack of sanitation, contaminated water, and the crowding of people created a perfect environment for the spread of diseases. Cholera, dysentery, scurvy, they were their constant companions. And bananas, they would be a cure, if they existed. You suffer from fevers, diarrhea, body aches. Medicine is poor, and doctors are rare and expensive. A simple illness can be fatal. And if you get sick, you are alone. There are no hospitals, no nurses, no bananas to give you energy. You learn to live with the illness, to ignore the pain. Because there is no time for weakness. Life is a struggle, and death is a constant. And the only thing you can do is pray that you are not the next one buried in a shallow grave, and that you have eaten your last banana. And then there was the law, or the lack thereof. In the mining camps, the law was made by the strongest, the quickest on the trigger. Robberies, murders, land disputes were common. Justice was brutal and often summary. And bananas, they would be stolen before you could even taste them. You live in constant fear of being mugged, beaten, or killed. Your neighbors could be your enemies. Your partners could betray you. Life is Russian roulette, and with every spin, you could be next. And the only thing you can do is pray that your luck doesn't run out, and that you've eaten your last banana. Freedom is an illusion. Security is a myth. You were trapped in a deadly game where the rules are fluid and life is cheap. And the only certainty is violence and the absence of bananas. Now, let's talk about more appetizing things. Or not. The food in the gold rush was bad, monotonous, and expensive. Beans, salty bacon, coffee, and stale bread. No fresh vegetables, no fruit, no bananas. Food was for sustenance, not pleasure. And the pleasure of a ripe banana? It was a distant dream. You would spend weeks eating the same thing day after day. The lack of nutrients led to diseases like scurvy. And if you complained, well, you weren't a real prospector. A prospector can handle anything, even a lack of bananas. Life was hard, and death was a constant. But to a prospector, hope was everything, and they lived and died for it, even if it meant never tasting a banana again.
So, do you think you could last a day in the gold rush? Waking up before the sun, digging until exhaustion, fighting disease and violence, and living on junk food, all without a single banana?
So the next time you watch a Western and dream of finding gold, remember, the reality was a lot harsher and a lot less tasty, especially without bananas.
Life in the gold rush was a lesson in resilience, hope, and despair. They lived in a brutal world where death was a constant and life was cheap. But they found meaning in their pursuit of fortune, in their camaraderie, and in their belief in a better future. So next time you complain about your job, remember, at least you don't have to dig for gold with your bare hands. At least you have access to modern medicine. And at least you can eat fresh bananas at the supermarket without having to fight thugs for them.
So, do you think you would last a day during the gold rush? Leave a comment below about what part of the gold prospector's life you think would be the hardest to endure. And if you have any suggestions for other impossible historical professions, let me know.
If you liked this video, leave a like. It's worth more than a gold nugget. Subscribe to the channel for more unvarnished stories and activate the bell so you don't miss any episodes. Share it with that friend who romanticizes life in the Wild West so he can see what it was really like.
Always remember, history is made of bananas, and the miners all died without tasting one. At least you can eat bananas while watching Netflix on the couch.
See you next episode of Banana Stories, where we'll find out why you wouldn't last a day as an Egyptian pharaoh. Spoiler, it involves even more bizarre rituals and fewer bananas than you might think.
Keep your bananas safe, and remember, history has never been so peeled.